From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons at L8, and I'm back with you on this weekend afternoon with the breaking news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll go over your monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. This is not the third stimulus check for the children. This is the fourth stimulus for all walks of life, including my seniors and also my workers. Then, in the third part of this video, we go to the final 15 minutes of breaking news. Some stuff happening in just the last few minutes. We'll be going over the recon versus the bipartisan. Is Chuck Schumer giving preferences to one item before another? Why did Bernie Sanders have an emergency meeting with Nancy Pelosi about the voting process? What did AOC say about Kristen Sinema? And why am I concerned about one series of people that have been saying one thing in the Senate in the last 24 hours? Of all the breaking details as well. Normally, I cut to fifth stimulus late in this video, but in this video, I will go on a tear about the president's choice to let the eviction moratorium on a federal level elapse. Yes, he's not extending it, and I don't think this is a good idea. I'll go over why my opinions are vocal as they are and what I think will happen going forward. Then we cut to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get. $30,000 viewers are now getting for rent, utilities, food, and internet and more. I'll show you how to get this big money. It's a big afternoon. There's exciting, great news across the board. I'm excited you're here. Let's get to all the deliciousness as we start this afternoon, starting right here, right now on L8. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful weekend, and thank you for joining me on this big weekend day. I had told you to stay with me all weekend long because there is going to be a lot of breaking news and a lot of things unfolding by the minute. This is the day for it. So stay with me all Saturday, all Sunday. There's going to be a lot of breaking news across the board. But first, how's the weather where you are? It's cool and breezy and beautiful here in Southern California. I'm very blessed. I'm very excited. We've now had about 4 great days of continual great weather. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? Let's cut to that fourth stimulus. In this recording, we're going to go over first the monthly stimulus checks and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we go to the recon. Your money, $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. Done deal. The Democrats have agreed upon the price tag and agreed to do it. But what are those checks? Not the children's. That's third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. I'll have all the details in the second half of this recording. In the third part of this video, the final 15 minutes, you need to stay to the very end because this is all breaking news. If you don't hear what's going on today, you'll be confused by Monday because there's a lot of twists and turns between the recon and the bipartisan, between the vote and between the dynamic of the Senate and the House. There's a lot of twists and turns, and I know it's going to be jam-packed, but it's in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. Normally, I cut to fifth stimulus as well, but I'm not very happy with what the President of the United States did with allowing the eviction moratorium to lapse. I'll be explaining what happened and why I don't think this was a good idea. Then I cut to the big money that viewers continue to get. $30,000 viewers are now getting. It's your opportunity to get this big money across the board. And this is L8, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week. Financial news channel in America, live in the morning and taped at afternoons. All new shows today on morning, on noontime, and coming up next on evenings L8 at 5 o'clock. I want to see you there on that show as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check starting right now. Monthly stimulus check, Senate versus House. Well, suddenly the House has a lot of weight to it because the pandemic is far from over. We were sitting back wondering about 5 weeks ago, was the pandemic over or was it not over? And now everything has slightly changed. 5 weeks ago, we thought maybe the pandemic's not over. Today, there's actually articles that say perhaps the White House was too late with the CDC reversing the mask mandate. Interesting. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year, monthly stimulus check. Senate approach July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House bill, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate amount, monthly unknown, but word on the streets, the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $80 for $100. In the last 3 weeks, everything has reversed itself, and now we believe the pandemic is not over. And in the last 2 weeks, believing the pandemic is far from over, and in the last week, absolutely not ending anytime soon. So the House bill would likely pay the full gamut of which it delineates. That is pandemic plus 1 year, which would be more than 12 checks, which would be more than $13,000 from the House. So compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. So who gets this forced stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got a 30, you get a 4. Single individuals, 75,000 less. Democrats represent you get a forced stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 less. Democrats represent you get a forced stimulus check. Double it. Family of 4. Democrats represent you get a forced stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent you get a forced stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is income. It's not income. It's not taxable. The forced stimulus check is the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. And the forced stimulus check is not a waivable check. It's a monthly check. I learned that, unfortunately, yesterday when I went to Ron Portman's Pork Belly Sausage Fest. He had some delicious pork belly sandwiches. And I went up to him from afar, because I saw him from afar, and I said, "Hello, Senator Portman." "Hello, Elliot. I recognize you from your purple shirts. How are you?" "Good, Senator Portman." You know, I just love this pork belly sandwich. It's great, isn't it? Yes. And I didn't want to wave at you from afar. "No, I'm not a waivable check." I almost said something, but I didn't. But Senator Portman, this pork belly sandwich is not well done enough. It hasn't been worked on. I think you need to get back to work and stop being so lazy. Where did you get that line from, LA? When you said that to the American people when their unemployment benefits were running out, you said, "Get back to work and stop being so lazy. Get out of here, LA." Sandwich was undone. So there you go. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over the recon, your money, $3.5 trillion of it. Done deal. The Democrats agreed upon the price tag, and they've agreed to do it. And that caucusing has worked. 50 of 50 Democrats have agreed to pass the recon at $3.5 trillion. And I'm going to go over all the deliciousness and all those checks that are in there. This is not third stimulus for the children. This is you. And then we cut to the vote, the bill, the date, the controversy, the scandal, the secret meetings. And I'm referring to this thing, not to some romance novel. It's just getting very dramatic. I'm going to go over everything you need to know that's happening and why certain things have not been happening as well. It's in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. Trust me, you need to stay with me all weekend long because there is a lot of breaking news. By Monday, if you miss all this weekend's broadcast, you will get confused. Let's cut then to the second half of this video. I'll be going over what the president did with the eviction moratorium, which is nothing, and I'm not happy about it. It's coming up later in this video. It's normally there's stimulus at that time slot, but I'm going to go over that because it's important for you to know what he did not take care of. But first, let's take care of you. You're killing it. I am so proud of you. The viewers of this channel are getting astronomical sums of money in the last few hours. Carla received $1,700 for utilities and $3,000 for SNAP. Pamela, $12,000 for rent. And then Tiffany got over $30,000. She got $13,000 for rent. $20,000. She got $13,000 for rent, and she got SNAP and utilities. Nancy got over $30,000, 30. She got $24,000 for rent, $7,000 for gas, and $5,000 for SNAP. What is going on? It's you. Several weeks ago, I was reporting that I could get you $5,000 for rent, 4 to 6 months of rent from this channel. Now viewers are getting upwards of $25,000. Richard got $22,000. Mark got $25,000. Nisi got $20,000. Wow. Then when I was reporting I could get you $300 for utilities, viewers started getting $3,000. Now they're getting $6,000 to $7,000. Like Mark, who got $6,500, and like Randy, who got $2,000 for utilities, and Nancy got $7,000 for utilities. Then when we talk about SNAP, I said I could get you $5,000 to $6,000 a SNAP. Now viewers are getting $18,000 of SNAP. Louis, congratulations. John, $10,000 to $12,000. What's going on? This is what this channel does. We're here to cash checks, not track checks. No time or place to have a calendar open, say, I see what day of the month it is. No. It's not time or place to track things. It's time to cash things. This is what we did in second stimulus in April of last year when this channel launched. People were not looking at calendar saying, I haven't got to my EIDL grant. No, we fought together and we got the grants and we got the loans as a family. I got $25 million of EIDL loans for viewers of this channel because guess what? They were not coming by looking at the calendar. They were coming by fixing the situation, and we got them. In fall of 2020, second stimulus checks were not coming. Nothing to look at a calendar about that or track because it was not happening. But I got viewers $250,000 of rent, like Tyrone and his family 4 out of Boston. Now we're doing it again. The only difference is you. Your success stories are astronomical. So get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to go over how you get this big pot of money starting right now. You're going to get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. I'm excited for you to get it. And each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Also, if it's important to know that they have their own pot of money. And the keywords are going to reveal to you, people say, have been the difference in getting approved. Are you ready? So here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, rent or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You're not going to say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's fan club. Doesn't exist. They don't know that. So there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of money is the SNAP. But if you got in rent or utilities, post in the live chat right now. Next, let's get to SNAP. Louis, to $18,000. Congratulations, Louis. John, 10 to 12,000. Congratulations, John. And congratulations to all the other viewers who got these enormous sums of money for SNAP. Nancy got 5,000. Tiffany got 1,500. Then there was Lynn Glenn got it for her son as well. It's just incredible. Who also got it for SNAP? Lynn got it for herself, her son, and her mom. And Gail got it. What is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. How much does it pay? A lot. What is the eligibility? Easier than a stimulus check. The payment is a lot of money. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of 2 executive orders, one better than the next. Both from Biden and Trump. They'll raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. Wow. $18,000 for SNAP. $25,000 for rent, $7,000 for utilities. You're killing it. We're killing it. And we're only 12 minutes of this video. If you got to Snap, post in the live chat right now. Let's turn to the next pile of money. It is the refund check due to overpayment on unemployment benefits and a computer error. The states have been ordered to return this money back to you by the federal government. Where's the landing direct deposit? Oh, can you track it? Yeah, call up your state and say, hey, state, where's that check to overpayments of unemployment benefits due to computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually has a keyboard? Congratulations to the viewer who's got 3,000, the other one who got 5,000, the other one who got $2,500 from this in the last few days. The last pot of the money is the refund check coming back from IRS. This is wonderful news. Margaret got it, Cod got it, and Michael got it. And others of you will be getting it as well. It's a waivable check. Sorry, Mitch. It's a waivable check. And IRS gave us an update about this one. It will be coming in the latest wave with an average payout of $1,265. Deliciousness. Direct deposit started July 14th for this wave, with paper checks July 16th. There's a new wave every week. So there you go. Before I continue, 3 things you need to know. It's important for you to jump in the live chat and post your success stories, whether it's $1 or $100, because you help other viewers. That's the spirit of this channel, people helping people. And when you do that, 3 wonderful things happen. And number 1, when you post your success stories, you inspire other people to get it. So imagine, Nisi inspired a lot of people with her $23,000 success story. And then now we have Richard with his $22,000, Mark with his $30,000 success story, and Nancy with her $30,000 success story. Number 2, when you see Art Sullivan get 3 items in the live chat, or Nisi with 3 items, suddenly you realize, wait, I should get some more items. And I'm not joking here, but Mark got $25,000 for rent and $6,500 for utilities. Mark, go get some SNAP. You'll bring it to $40,000. I'm not joking here. Nancy got 3 items as well. Congratulations to Nancy. Randy got $6,000 for rent and $2,000 for utilities. $8,000, Randy. Congratulations. But go get some SNAP. It inspires people to get 3 items. And then it updates us about the numbers. All right, let's go to that refund check coming back from IRS. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, more about that in a second. But how much is it? Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? We already went over that in the mail or direct deposit. And can you track it? Yeah, 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, go in there and do a transcript search. It'll reveal the tax return you filed and the taxes you paid. 70% of the time, it'll also reveal stuff you never wanted to know ever in your life and you wish you forgot. It'll reveal when Mitch was on Star Search and he did the spokesperson contest. Was that teal courtesy of the teal monster? And finally, we'll reveal the refund check you're getting. Can we top that? We can, as we go into the second part of your four stimulus check updated 2021, starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. This is a done deal, ostensibly, because they agreed upon the price tag, and they agreed they're sending it to you. It's a lot of checks for all walks of life. This is not the children's checks for third stimulus. This is fourth stimulus. Money for seniors, money for workers, all different types of life. But how did we get to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot by taking roads and bridges out of the recon. Originally, the recon was bigger and had roads and bridges in there. It was not passable, but they took those roads and bridges out, shrunk the recon after July 4th, which is when they realized it was not going to pass, and got a smaller recon, $3.5 trillion. They eventually beefed it up a little bit more to get it to the $3.5 trillion price tag. By taking excess stuff of roads and bridges out of the recon and put it into the bipartisan, it made both the bipartisan and the recon passable. The confirmation comes from conservative publication. Op-ed. The higher the price tag was on the top line number for the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put it into the bipartisan, the overall price tag for the recon got smaller. There you go, pretty obvious. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. It did. In fact, both the recon and the bipartisan are now passable. Both have already gotten enough conforming votes to advance them, and so that is all wonderful deliciousness. How did they do this? Well, they had asked for a big enough recon, those progressives, and they got it. Representative Elon Omar said, we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, Elon, now. $3.5 trillion. And beforehand, Representative Richie Torres also said, we need a larger recon. You got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion. The progressives were meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the recon was going big enough. They got it. How did they do this? By protecting the recon. The president had told the progressives all the priorities and the policies and the checks in the recon are progressive priorities. They had said the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon its own priorities. That was what Brian Schatz and Jalapal had heard from the president. Well, here's what you need to know is what is a recon? What is a bipartisan? What is an infrastructure? What is not infrastructure? What are the terminology? How do they write the recon? And when do they call it for vote and how does it happen? Let's start with the basics. What are the names? I only use two words on this channel, recon and bipartisan. Recon is your money, bipartisan is roads and bridges. That's easy breezy. But what makes it confusing is the president. He uses other terminology and broadcast media. And what makes it even more confusing is broadcast media is messing it up 99% of the time. They're doing an F when it comes to reporting because they're actually swapping the names and using the wrong name to describe the wrong legislative purpose. So let's go over it so we know what it is when we recognize and see it and hear it. Recon is your money, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. You'll recognize it by a price tag of $3.5 trillion. Bipartisan, not your money, also called roads and bridges, also called the infrastructure. You'll recognize it by its price tag less than $1.5 trillion. The recon, you'll recognize it by the people talking about it, like a Bernie Sanders or a Nancy Pelosi. And the bipartisan, you'll recognize it by its people, a Ron Portman, a Kristen Sinema, and a Mitt Romney. Who writes the recon? The recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. It starts with the actual authors, the House subcommittees. Under the Constitution, the House subcommittees are delegated different subject matters, and that's what they write. They get the help of the Senate subcommittees, Democrat with Democrat as well. For example, House Subcommittee Ways and Means was responsible for writing stimulus checks. That House Ways and Means Subcommittee is the one that wrote your third stimulus check, and they write the fourth stimulus check. They also write unemployment benefits. When each of these subcommittees are done, they send their pages out to Chuck Schumer. So let's say we have 10 subcommittees and 10 pages. They combine it to 100. Chuck puts a big S on it. S for salty. S for sugary. S for Schumerish. S for Laverne Shirley. No, S for Senate. That is then your recon. Until we are at that point, not bill yet. We have an emoji for that. Not bill yet. But when we see the bill, that's not the final thing because we have an emoji for that. Not law yet. The mainstream media and myself confirm the same reporting, which is we don't have the recon yet. And when we do, we do. The Democrats don't want you to see the recon, much like a pop singer. They just want you to hear the songs on the upcoming album until it's released. There's no transparency requirement of the Constitution, so those subcommittee members don't have to show you what they're writing, when they're writing, taking things in, they're taking things out. But when the recon is debuted on the Senate bill with that S on it, it's not a finality because it will get modified. In fact, it's now slated to get modified. More about that later in this video. So if you do hear a person say, but I haven't heard of this in the recon, the reason I haven't heard of it is because the recon has not been debuted. Can we top that? We can, as Jalapal recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck called a vote on the recon. Jalapal, you need to resend this letter today. More about that later in this video. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who were among the 100 plus who had written the Schumer a letter saying, we're going to be putting, to the president actually, a letter that said, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Whoa, that is wonderful. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee. Wait, the one you just went over? Yep, the same one I just went over. Recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Yeah, you heard me right. House Ways and Means Subcommittee members writing the president a letter saying, monthly fourth stimulus checks. We got to keep them to that promise, Purple Power. You have to push and ensure these people keep their promise. Can we top that? We can. As the president has done it, he went overseas 5 or 6 weeks ago, to have a ceremonial signature. That ceremonial signature was followed up by the actual signature on the books just a few days ago. It's for the global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. Oh, I'm exhausted just saying that. It's just exhausting. And that's why it's great news. It's not on the fourth stimulus, because it's exhausting. And it's complicated. Too complicated. Number one, easier to write the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, it's jam-packed with all breaking news of things happening this weekend. I had one nice viewer, actually I think it's a volunteer, jump into the live chat on the afternoon's show right before this one, the throwback, and said, what did I miss this morning? I'm tuning in because I want to get caught up. You literally cannot go more than 4 hours to this weekend from this channel because there's so much happening that by Monday, if you cash out and disappear for 2 days, you're going to be totally confused by Monday. So please do not miss recordings this weekend because there's too many things happening. In the final 15 minutes of this video, we're going to go over all the breaking news, all the things that are happening, all the things that are not happening but should be happening. And also, you're going to see a change. Normally, I'll go over fifth stimulus, but today I'm going to go over what the president did not take care of in the eviction moratorium situation. But something more wonderful than that, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, food, or internet, reach out to them. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It sends you over to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. The volunteers are separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them to help for that big money. And I'll be back with 60 seconds with you with the big final 15 of this video. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. They're Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons Lalate as the surface coming in as we heat up in the final 15 of the final 7. There is a lot of breaking news happening this weekend, folks, and boy, I'm ready to give it to you. A lot of details in the final 15 minutes of this video. Open your brains, put your feet down, because this is going to be an avalanche of information. It's coming up right now. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Thank you for this week, for being one of our biggest weeks of subscriber growth. Hit that subscribe button. Tell people to come on in. Share the videos on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Evenings Lalate at 5 p.m. It's a brand new show, taped today. It's all brand new, so stay with me. And with that, also consider becoming a member. Let me go right into what's going on with the president. When he came into office in his first week, he issued a series of executive orders. None of them were for you. They were for climate and stamps, and climate and for stamps. He did not take care of Social Security. He did not take care of student loan debt forgiveness. He did not take care of a lot of stuff. But one of the things he did not do on his own accord was take care of eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance. What's going on? When you first met me last year, I was recording outside. And on Afternoons LA, there was a show in the final time slot. It was about 5 o'clock. It was the 5th show called Rent. At the time, I said, it's the bomb of this entire channel. No one watches the show, but I'm going to continue to air it every single day because it's important. And I did. I didn't care if no one watched it. It was important for you to know where rent assistance was and how it worked. It was before we go over what we go over now. You pushed, because there was no eviction moratorium at the time on a federal level. And finally, one day, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, then issued what he thought was an executive order for eviction moratorium. We looked at it and we realized it's not it. That doesn't count. What it did was it said, I'll allow other agencies to take care of it. So what he did was he picked up the phone and called the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, the one that has all those videos that you see on this channel about a month ago with Dr. Walensky and talking about the virus. And they had the dominion to go overseas to oversee the eviction moratorium. As soon as it first happened last year, I said, this is wacko. They should not be overseeing eviction moratorium. The CDC. This should have been done by a normal executive order from the president. He didn't take care of it. Well, I was not the only one who said that. Lawyers said that as well. And they started going to court and they started winning, saying the CDC should not be talking about eviction moratorium. It should have been done by the president. What happened next? When President Biden came into office, the first week, he didn't fix this. What he did was issue a series of executive orders that don't concern anything of real importance, like climate, and stamps. This should have been day one, like the student loan debt forgiveness. Should have been day one. What did he do? He just extended the executive order of Donald Trump, which wasn't written right to begin with. And as legal challenges continue to grow, they continue to win. Finally, the oppositions grew. And then the following. Late last week, it was very obvious the eviction moratorium was running out of time. It was about to expire. So Democrats went to him and he said on the record, he was asked, are you going to do a new executive order to do this the correct way? This is what you should have been doing on day one, an executive order with your pen and paper written the right way. What did he say? No, I'm not going to do it. There's too much challenges to the CDC. That doesn't answer the question. The problems with the CDC is not your problem. It was the prior president's problem. He didn't do it right. You can go do it right. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to touch it. He didn't want to spend the time. He didn't care. What did he do? He said, the states can go take care of it. The states, the same states you accuse, like red and blue states, of not taking care of issues, where the federal government comes in and takes care of it for all of us. So he punt-kicked it to the states to take care of it. It gets actually worse. Then he says, well, if you give me some legislation, maybe I'll take care of it. At the 11th hour, Maxine Waters rushed to Nancy Pelosi's chambers at the end of last week, saying, Nancy, we need to get this on the books. We're going to run out of time. And it did. It ran out of time. There was no time to take care of this. And to make it even worse, as a person who has made thousands of videos, which I started first calling Purple, and then merging them into these videos about rent and utilities and SNAP and internet, and have detailed how hard it is to get it, and how all these achievements are achievements because it's not easy to get. What does the president have the audacity to say? Well, there's a lot of money for you to go get. Just go get it. It's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Why do you think this YouTube channel exists? Because this is not easy to get. It's not so easy for Richard to get $22,000 or for Mark to get $30,000. It's not like they blink and it appears. Why do you think there's 5, 6, 7 volunteers, 10 volunteers, and there's been over probably 30, 40 volunteers since this channel started helping people get the money? Because it's not easy. I'm not happy. This should have been taken care of by the president on day one with an executive order to fix it. Simply letting it lapse and talking about the climate is not a good hour for this president. All right, let's now cut to forced stimulus. And the final 15 starting right now. I'm on time. I've been watching the clock, and trust me, I could have gone for 40 more minutes about that. All right, here we go. The forced stimulus. There's a lot of breaking news, and it's very hideously complex. So I'm going to go slowly through each of them one step at a time, and you're going to see where I see there are issues and where I don't see those issues. First, let's go over the recon. Done deal. The Democratic caucus was pulled in by Chuck Schumer over 2 weeks ago, saying, would you agree upon passing the recon on price tag? All 50 of 50 Democrats said yes, $3.5 trillion. That was a historic achieving day, as Tim Kaine, senator, said. When you agree upon the price tag, you're eventually done. That all you have to do is just allocate certain parts of the pie to different programs. That's also what Bernie Sanders said. He said he went into the meeting asking for $7 trillion. He agreed it's 3.5 because he got all his programs funded just in less amount of time. Probably half, because 3.5 is half of 7. So done deal, $3.5 trillion of checks that come to the American people. Now, early in this video, I went over the fact that, like a pop singer, we don't see the recon because it hasn't been debuted to us. But I do have some of the provisions of some of the checks that are coming to you in this $3.5 trillion. Remember, this is just checks for you, and it's all progressive ideology. Checks for free school meals for all, checks for tax breaks, checks for cheaper prescription medication, checks for immigration reforms, checks for farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet. They're going to give fortunes to the local cities so that they can offer you free internet. And then checks for clean energy. Here come my checks for my workers and checks for my seniors. Checks for workers alike, checks for unions, checks for collective bargaining, checks for independent contractors. And then come my checks for my seniors. Checks for Medicare expansion, checks for lowering eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. Great news. Let's get over now to the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. All right, so the bipartisan roads and bridges has had 3 votes in 1 week. 3? Why 3? Are they different? No, they're all the same. What are the votes called? They're a vote to advance the bill or end discussion on the recon bipartisan. It's basically a vote to get things moving along. They had this vote over a week ago. It failed. It got them moving. They worked over last weekend. And then they got the vote called this Wednesday. And even Mitch McConnell voiced support for it. It passed. Then they did the vote again on Friday. It also passed. Great news. Now, why am I concerned about this? Let's cut back to the bipartisan. Chuck Schumer, I believe it was last Friday, and then again on Wednesday, pulled his 50 of 50 Democrats in the Senate, and they all said they're ready to advance the recon. Great. I was excited. And then I said, so we're expecting that vote to advance the recon in the next 24 hours. It didn't happen. 48 hours. It didn't happen. 72 hours. It didn't happen. It still has not happened. I understand why there's not been a similar vote to advance the recon, much like Chuck has had 3 for the bipartisan. Red flag number 1. Okay, so then red flag number 2. What was red flag number 2? Red flag number 2 happened on Friday when Chuck Schumer said, let me go back to Thursday. No, I'll start Friday. On Friday, Chuck Schumer said, well, it's exciting because the bipartisan, the roads and bridges tax may be finished over the weekend, and we may be ready to finally vote on the bipartisan legislation on Monday or Tuesday. Excuse me, Chuck? Wait a second. We haven't even advanced the recon. Wait a second. Did I hear you right, Chuck? Now, less than 48 hours earlier, Chuck Schumer said that both the bipartisan and the recon will be ready to become a law by the August recess. Great news. And we started the month of July with Chuck, the president, Jolapal, Nancy, Bernie, all saying the recon goes for a vote before the bipartisan. So now we first have not seen Chuck advance the recon in any of these 3 votes. Bipartisan has 3, recon has had 0. Now we hear Chuck celebrating that the bipartisan may be ready for a bill vote Monday. We haven't even heard anything like that from Chuck's mouth in the last 7 days about the recon. Any red flags you've seen? Yeah. Guess who else saw a red flag? This guy. Bernie. He's obviously thinking like how I'm thinking. Where did he go? He went rushing to Nancy Pelosi's office on Thursday. Bernie's a senator. He's not a House member. He went to Nancy, who's in the House, to say, Nancy, you made a promise. Are you changing your promise? Oh, no, I'm not, Bernie. I am not changing my promise. Thank goodness for Nancy Pelosi. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Temple of Doom is the temple of Nirvana for us at the moment. Why? Because all these people, Bernie and Nancy, are keeping their promises to us on the voting process. Remember, recon goes for a vote first before bipartisan. What did Nancy specifically say about this over 3 or 4 interviews in the months of June and July? And I have the quotes on set, but I'm just not going to read it. She basically said the following. If you send me the roads and bridges from the Senate passed first, I am throwing it in the garbage can. You must, categorically must, send me the recon first to the House of Representatives. So when Bernie went to rush to meet with her Thursday, what did she say? Same thing. She said, Bernie, don't worry. Your Senate better not send me the roads and bridges first because it's going in the garbage can. I must be sent the recon first. Thank goodness for Bernie and Nancy. But does it cause a red flag for you to concern that Bernie is going to Nancy to address the situation when it's happening in the Senate with Chuck? Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with Chuck. I don't understand what's happening with Leader Schumer. And if that was the only thing to be concerned about, maybe I would not be so concerned. But then there's this. A series of Democrats literally went on the record by Thursday. Democrats in the Senate. And what they say? Well, the August recess is coming up, and it'll be a great achievement to go back to our home states with a big win on passing the infrastructure. So I think we should call the vote on the infrastructure right away and not wait around for this not wait around on the infrastructure bipartisan roads and bridges. Call for a vote right away. Excuse me, you're a Democrat? Excuse me, can I just double check? You're a Democrat? It's just, wait a second. Now, let's back up for a second. Ultimately, the House of Representatives is the gatekeeper. They have the key to the whole equation. Because if the Senate wants to actually call the vote before on the roads and bridges before the recon, then it's going to implode by the time it heads to Nancy's house. It's not going to work. But it's also the matter of principle. Remember, the person who determines when things are voted on is one man in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, one person in the House, Nancy Pelosi. Is Chuck Schumer really going to throw us under the bus like this? I'm not quite sure. So, Purple Power has been pushing with Chuck Schumer. You should push with Chuck Schumer. Number one push is call the vote on the recon before the bipartisan, Chuck. What are you doing? All right, that is the first thing. Second thing is that there was a shocking development detail on Friday. Remember how I tell you that these people are not showing you bill drafts? Well, in the case of the roads and bridges bill, someone got wind in the blockchain crypto industry that they are being going after, that someone is going after them in the roads and bridges bill. Yeah, you heard me right. Yeah, you did hear me right. Yeah, you don't have to clean the ears. That a bill about roads and bridges is going after cryptocurrency. How? They want to regulate cryptocurrency with a regulatory provision added to a bill about roads and bridges. If that sounds ridiculous, it is ridiculous. And guess what? Everyone is up in arms. What I'm not happy about, and if you saw Twitter this morning, I was right on Twitter saying I am disavowing and going vehemently against Kristen Sinema and her bipartisan roads and bridges bill if she's going after regulation of cryptocurrency industry. Not that I'm against regulation, because I am in favor of it, but in this manner, this is sneakiness. This is scheming. What is scheming? Where they put this into the legislation on a Friday night, don't tell anyone, and are trying to pass it on a Monday or Tuesday. You've been working on this roads and bridges for 4 months. No one has ever heard about this cryptocurrency. You're sliding in there, so there's no opportunity for us to lobby or push back. That's scheming, Kristen Sinema. Shame on you. It needs to go out. And this is why the cryptocurrency industry is irate, and they have every right to be irate. They're being ambushed at the 11th hour. They're not having an opportunity to get in here. So that is a big surprising detail. Now, here's what you need to know about the legislation. When the recon bill debuts itself on the Senate side with that S, it's not done yet. And guess what? The House Democrats are vowing to modify it. Thank goodness. Why is that great news? Because the only people who have had their hands on this recon have been those subcommittees of the House. And there's 50 senators who have not been able to touch it. There's been over 100 House Democrats who have not been able to touch it. They want to touch it. And if there's something imperfect in there, they want to modify it. You want them to modify it. Because remember, this is a democracy. It's not an oligarchy. So let's recap where we are, because I know that was a lot. Number one, first thing, is we have two passive items. We have bipartisan roads and bridges, and we have recon. In a strange twist and turn, for 3 months, the Republicans were dragging their feet so we wouldn't get money. Now what the Republicans are trying to do is sprint to the finish line ahead of us so that they get their vote called before the August recess, and that they sort of just disappear, and that the recon never gets taken care of. Chuck, you know better than this. This should not be allowed. This is just a warning signal unto itself. Number two, the recon provides a fortune of money to you, $3.5 trillion of checks to the American people. In the next few weeks, I'll be focusing on getting every check to all those people, and all my viewers that are entitled to the money. It is for you. It's for seniors and workers and everyone else. But we still haven't seen the bill yet. And when we see the bill, you need to push Purple Power because there's room to modify. Number three, the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, is starting to look like a debacle because suddenly they're sliding things in there like cryptocurrency regulation that doesn't belong in there. If you went on Twitter, I've been tweeting an image of Kristen Sinema that says, hey, suddenly your roads and bridges are more important than the American people. We need to be taken care of first, not roads and bridges. And along the way, there's going to be a lot of dramatics in the next 7 days. I'm really shocked that some Democratic senators actually have the audacity to say the roads and bridges go for a vote first. But remember, it's Nancy Pelosi who holds the key in this equation. And you have to have her back. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's an entirely different year than 2020. She is the gatekeeper. And as long as she throws that throws that bipartisan into the garbage, if it lands first in the House, we're taken care of. And with that, that's a lot of news, and that's a lot to go over. I'll have more about this tonight on Evenings LA, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening, and I'll see you next on Evenings LA at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's a new show, and it's coming up tonight, next.